and welcome to another episode of the Darkives. I'm Jamie talking to Leo.
And I'm Leo listening to Jamie.
And this week, I am going to be telling you guys the grisly little tale of the Colorado cannibal, Alferd Packer.
I have not heard of the Colorado Cannibal.
I hadn't either. I actually stumbled upon this one by a happy little accident, and it was quite the rabbit hole that I got into. So I'm excited for this one.
Sounds fun. And before we get started, remember that you can follow us on all of our socials. We have Instagram,
Blue Sky, YouTube, X, Facebook. It's anywhere. You guys can follow us at Darkives Podcast. Follow, send us a message, look at some pictures, watch a video or two.
All right. And with that, let's get into it.
Let's get into the history of the Colorado cannibal and life in the western frontier that led to these grisly acts. Born November 21st or January 21st of 1842 near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Alferd Packer was born into a family with a brother and two sisters, but left them at a young age and was working as a shoemaker in Minnesota by his late teens. He suffered from epilepsy, which at the time was thought to be linked to insanity, and it caused him seizures every 2 days, if not more frequently. He was really afflicted by these seizures quite prominently throughout his life. He tried enlisting in the Civil War twice, but lasted less than a year both times due to this epilepsy. You know, dropping and having a seizure. You can't be doing that on the battlefield. In the decade following the war, he drifted around picking up various jobs such as like a hunter, miner, trapper, teamster, and not tour guide, but like just guide around the West. He continually lost these jobs due to his epilepsy though. Because I mean, you figure at the time they didn't really have anything to help with it. They thought if you had a seizure, you were possessed or insane.
Yeah. Trying to stock shelves or whatever, and you're
dropping
having a seizure.
Yeah. By 1872, so he's around 30, Alferd Packer ends up in Colorado, in the town Georgetown, to be exact, which is only about an hour from Denver.
Yeah, 45 minutes an hour.
He was working there as a miner when he lost his left pinky and index finger due to a rogue sledgehammer.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Got flattened, squished his fingers off.
Yeah, squished his fingers right out of there. He wanders around and ends up in Utah in 1873 and made kind of just a poor living for a while, but then gold is found in Colorado. And he is all over that.
He's heading back to Colorado.
Yes, he wants to immediately get back. The gold was found near the Breckenridge area. Breckenridge is about an hour and a half away from Denver. A group of 20 to 21 strangers meets up in Bingham Canyon, Utah, to start mapping out their plan to get to the San Juan Mountains to find gold. Now, the San Juans are still part of the Rockies. They're just like a little group in the Rockies. That is like southwestern Colorado and northwestern New Mexico.
Okay, down south in Colorado.
Yeah, down south, it's the San Juan Mountains. It's still the Rockies. One of the men in the group, Preston Nutter, described Packer as a, quote, sulky, obstinate, and quarrelsome man. He was a petty thief willing to take things that did not belong to him, whether of any value or not.
So not only did he have seizures, but he was a bit of a klepto.
A bit of a klepto and a cranky one at that. Like, if you're going to be stealing from people, at least try and be charming. You don't need to be a cranky man who's also stealing my shit. His epilepsy is still kicking his ass out here, and at one time, while sitting by a campfire, he had a seizure, fell into the fire, and overturned a coffee pot that scalded his face. So, I mean, he's going through it with this.
So now he's burnt, grumpy, a klepto who has seizures.
Yeah, he's not doing great to start this journey out.
Did a rough go of it.
Yeah, he's not having a great time. He wanted to lead this group of men on the journey, though, claiming that he knew the mountains like the back of his hand. He was the perfect person to guide them to this area. So he was like in charge of this.
Which is a little wild because, I mean, all I know of the guy is that he was in Georgetown, which is quite a ways north from the southwest part of Colorado.
Yeah. And I'm not positive if, like, to get to Utah. I mean, I'm assuming obviously he had to cross over the Rockies, but I'm not positive how far south he ended up in the mountains. His travels are a little unclear outside of this event.
I'm pretty sure if you
So,
keep going west from Georgetown, you end up like around Moab.
right, like you'd go straight over to Grand Junction and then you'd end up in the Moab area. But hey, look, he is claiming he knows what he's doing. He's gonna lead these men and he's got this shit, according to him. By late autumn, around November of 1873, they set off on foot for Colorado. He himself bringing nothing with him for this journey.
He's roughing it.
He's a wild man.
It's like, I got this. The land has everything I need.
Well, judging by the name of this episode, it's not the land that's going to be providing.
Spoiler.
It's called the Colorado Cannibal. Oh,
Couldn't even let me live in Fantasyland for a second.
I'm so sorry. Well,
We're building a story.
We're on the Darkives. I'm not here to tell you a fun tale of a frontier man tackling the mountains. I'm here to tell you a depressing, dark little tale. What little we actually know about the trip and what happened only comes from him telling the story.
So now I know he's the only one who makes it out of here.
Well, I just want to preface this because we only have his word for the events that happened.
So this is a true tale as told by the only survivor.
Yes. The winter of 1873 and 1874, it was an unusually harsh winter. This made the travel for them pretty slow between the heavy snow, driving winds, and having a guide who has seizures all the time. They were making a slow go of it at first. And for some reason, there was no game. Like, they weren't able to hunt. So we have no food, heavy snow, and just trying to climb the mountains.
Yeah, well, when you're at elevation, the higher you go, the less tree line there is, and then the less animals that are up there.
Mhm.
So when you're going over the mountains, when you get to a certain level, there's really nothing up there.
No, and the snow can stay up there almost year round when you get up to a certain height. So all this to say is these men are having a tough go of it, which why they would decide to leave in November to cross the Rockies is absolutely beyond me.
Got to get to that goal before everybody else does.
You got to weigh the pros and cons of this. They did not, and it will become evident. Their rations disappeared pretty quickly, and the men were forced to start eating livestock feed. By late January, early February, the men made it to the Ute Indian camp of Chief Ouray, which is near modern-day Delta or Montrose, Colorado. They're fairly close to each other. Those, like, Delta and Montrose are pretty close to each other, and they are about 5 hours southwest of Denver. Chief Ouray was super nice to them and shared shelter, shared food, like totally took these men in and was caring for them because they come in looking haggard and beat to shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the natives there are sharing like everything with them, helping them get back to decent health. It's actually very nice of them.
Yeah, super nice.
He also advised the men to wait before continuing their journey. He said not even a Ute native would attempt a passage right now until spring came.
Yeah, hang out with us for a little bit. It's too dangerous.
However, 6 men, including Alferd Packer, felt so refreshed from all the supplies of the Ute natives that they decided they were going to ignore the people who knew this land and they were going to try and go for it.
Hey, I don't feel so bad. Let's go get fucked up again.
Yeah, I feel great after being here for a few days and actually eating and sleeping and having warmth. I think I'm good for the next 3 months. These 6 men, George Noon, who was just a teenager, Israel Swan, who was older than 60 and was said to have been carrying thousands of dollars in cash, James Humphrey, Frank Miller, who was a German butcher, and stout red-faced, red-haired Shannon Wilson Bell all set out with Alferd Packer. Unsurprisingly, the journey was immediately bad. Alfred said, quote, 3 or 4 days after our provisions were all consumed, we took our moccasins, which were made of rawhide, and cooked them. Our trail was entirely drifted over. In places, the snow had blown away from patches of wild rose bushes, and we were gathering the buds from these bushes, stewing them, and eating them.
You're resorting to some next is bark soup.
Yeah, it pretty quickly turned into we're eating our shoes and praying for a rosebud to stew up.
Yep. Let's have some belt soup.
Yeah, very
Moccasin soup.
Yes, yeah. That's the vibe, yeah. About 2 months later, Packer arrives alone at the Las Piñas Indian Agency. He looked haggard and worn, but otherwise pretty fucking solid for a man who just traversed the dead of winter Rockies. He had on him a Winchester rifle, a skinning knife, a coffee pot with live coals, and pockets full of cash.
So Swan's cash.
Yeah, which is quite interesting for a man who left Utah with nothing. After he arrives, he went and played some high-stakes poker at Dolan's Saloon and even bought a $70 horse. Sold his rifle for $10 and seemed to be okay. In April, a member of the original party eventually made it to this town and asked Packer where he got all this spending money and where all the other men were. The Fremont County Record newspaper from March 17th of 1883 says, quote, after a few days, he became lame and unable to walk when his comrades deserted him going in a southerly direction. While he, until he became able to walk, made his way east, subsisting on roots, berries, and the occasional squirrel or rabbit. So this is the first of the tales that he is going to tell about what happened. He's saying, I couldn't walk, so the other guys left me. And when I was able to walk, I survived on meager rations from the land. Another story that Packer eventually told was 4 of the men had all succumbed to either starvation, the elements, or maybe murder. They were all then eaten so the remaining could continue on. And Shannon Bell eventually went insane and tried to attack Alfred to kill him and presumably eat him. But Packer shot him in self-defense, then also consuming him eventually.
So that was the possibly murder part of it.
Yeah. Depending on the sources, his story changes enough that the other 4 men either succumbed to cold or starvation, or maybe they were murdered. But it's a little hard to tell what he's alluding to. What is known is these 4 men passed away somehow throughout their journey. And then it ends with Shannon going crazy and trying to attack Alfred, and he shoots him, thus leading to Alfred being the only survivor. This story would have been fine and dandy, just chalking it up to tough pioneer shit, if the bodies hadn't been eventually found. In June of that year, 4 of them were found laying side by side with a blanket over their bodies and a gunshot to each of their foreheads.
So everybody was shot.
Everybody was shot. And that certainly dispels the theory that he had originally laid, saying that they would pass away, eat them, carry on. Another one passed away, eat them, carry on. And you know what I mean? They all died at once. And they all died through means of murder. The 5th body, that of Shannon Bell, was found some distance away with his head cut off. His body had also been stripped of most of its flesh, but the other men's bodies weren't mutilated in such a way, which also begs the question, why were they killed then if not to survive? Not that killing a man is okay in any way, shape, or form, but his claim of, needing to eat them to have the strength to carry on, but those bodies were mostly left alone.
Speculation here, but I wonder if he killed Shannon and everybody else didn't like it, so he took out everyone else just to avoid any stuff when they get back into town.
Could be. Good theory. We actually at the end of this will discuss some later discoveries that will help prove one theory or another. So we'll get into that. Parker was jailed and an inquest was held that brought the verdict that he was guilty of murder and a warrant was set for him. But by then he was already gone. He escaped, changed his name, and lived as a fugitive for 9 years, traveling around Arizona, Montana, Colorado, and Wyoming. He was recaptured in 1883 near Fort Fetterman, Wyoming, and his story about what happened once again changed. This time, he claims that he left the camp to go search for some food, and after a few hours, he returned to find that Shannon Bell had killed everyone in a fit of insanity and was boiling the flesh for a meal.
That doesn't line up with what we've heard earlier, because the other 4 people were just shot and not mutilated. Only Shannon Bell was mutilated. So I'm just confused. Were the other 4 missing parts? Or was Shannon the only one that was stripped of flesh? I know he was the only one decapitated, but was he the only one stripped of flesh?
The other 4 had very minor mutilations from what I read. Nothing compared to what happened to Shannon.
Explain the what are the mutilations?
Different sources had different reports on how the bodies were found, but for the most part, you can picture bodies, no flesh, like they were kind of skinned, missing muscle. But the problem is that by the time these bodies are found, they had already started decomposing and scavengers had gotten to them. So outside of what is remaining, it was a little tricky to tell what had come from nature versus what had come from man.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
When Bell spotted Parker coming back from looking for food, he ran at him with his hatchet raised. So Packer, in self-defense, shot him twice in the stomach area. Packer remained in the camp by himself and claims he only resorted to cannibalism after a few days when it became clear that he was going to be trapped there for a while. Quote, "I tried to get away every day but could not. So I lived on the flesh of these men the greater part of the 60 days I was out. Then the snow began to have a crust and I started up on the creek." He's claiming that it was Bell who did it all.
Bell killed everybody, and when he went to come kill me, I shot him a couple times.
And then I ate him because I had to. Packer was charged with the murder of Israel Swan, who was the oldest member of the group and had the cash on him.
Yeah, he was Daddy Warbucks out there.
Yes, he was. Due to Alfred changing his story and no witnesses to corroborate anything, he was found guilty and sentenced to hang. 3 years later, however, the conviction was overturned due to a legislative error made in the criminal codes when Colorado changed from a territory to a state.
He's been in jail for 3 years?
Yes.
It took that long to hang people back in the day?
I know, that one also kind of caught me. Because justice was pretty swift back then.
I thought justice was very swift back then.
Yeah, I don't know. He was in there for 3 years and then ended up he gets a retrial due to this legislative error. It's kind of fun that you picked up on that too, because I had the same thought. I was like, wow, that took a long time.
That is a long time for somebody to be in jail back in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
From what I know, all I know is from Tombstone, though.
God, I love Tombstone.
Django and Tombstone and Clint Eastwood are my only knowledge of back in the day justice.
Anything Kurt Russell I'm watching. Kurt Russell as a cowboy is how I know anything.
He's a good cowboy.
He's a great cowboy.
Great sheriff.
God, he's
He's a good bounty hunter, too, in the Hateful Eight.
He's just good in anything. You throw him in a period piece, he's fucking in it.
Yeah, late 1800s, early 1900s is where Kurt Russell thrives, honestly. He is the most convincing power figure of the time, of that era. Like,
Hard agree.
He's perfect for the roles in that era.
Alfred was tried again, this time charged with 5 counts of manslaughter, and he was found guilty again, but this time sentenced to only 40 years. He was sent to the state prison in Canyon City in 1886.
How old is he now?
By this point, he's very early 40s. He was born in 42, and we're now in 86, so about 42. And he was just sentenced to 40 years.
You said he was born in 42 and we're in 86? 44.
I can't do math. I just tell stories.
No, you're good.
Due to the efforts of the Denver Post and a reporter named Polly Pry, articles kept getting published that were questioning his guilt, saying he might be innocent of all this. And he was actually paroled in 1901.
Okay, so he makes parole because of Paulie.
Mm-hmm.
Old Paulie.
Polly Pry.
I like a good Paulie.
Paulie. He briefly worked as a guard at the Denver Post building in downtown Denver after his release. They got him released, essentially, and he was like, all right, I'll come be the Colorado cannibal outside the building, keep people away. He spent the last few years of his life in Littleton, which is just a suburb of Denver, where he was described as a, quote, kindly man who would take children on his lap and tell them of his early days in the Old West.
So he's all Grandpa Alfred.
Yeah, he's Grandpa Alfred. He's taking the kids, popping them on his lap and saying, let me tell you about the Old West.
Let me tell you about the time this crazy redhead, red in the face, filled with rage, came running at me with a hatchet after killing everybody in my crew. So I shot him in the gut. And I did how many years? How many years?
86 to 01. How many years is that? 15? 15 years.
15 years. Before old Paulie got me out of the clink.
The clink?
They call it the clink back in the day?
I don't know. That's funny. I don't know. Alfred died April 24th, 1907, of allegedly some liver and stomach troubles.
And liver will get you every time.
Yeah.
Probably too many minerals from eating other people's livers.
Yeah, that's not good. You can get a disease from that. It's like prion disease from cannibalism. Super bad for humans. Something to do with the brain. It makes you crazy.
I think it's a prion. Maybe I'm saying it wrong.
Prion sounds good. Due to his short tenure in the Civil War, the government and the military actually paid for his burial and his headstone, and he is buried in the Littleton Cemetery, where you can go visit his grave today. His last words were allegedly, "I'm not guilty of the charge," which is actually kind of sad. If he wasn't guilty, to have that weighing on you and like your reputation is forever the Colorado cannibal, and his last words were, "I'm not guilty of the charge."
I mean, he was guilty of eluding the justice system
For 9 years, yeah.
and changing his name.
Mm-hmm. He did go on the run, that is true.
Yeah, he was an outlaw for 9 years,
Mm-hmm.
running from justice.
And he did kill Shannon. He admitted to that in all versions of his stories. So he for sure killed Shannon, but in self-defense. So no matter what, he did kill a man and then go on the run. Both of which are not legal. Just some fun facts and a little bit of aftermath from all this. In the 1950s, a rusted 1862 Colt Police Model 32 5-shot revolver was found in the mountains in that area with 2 shots missing. Analysis done at the Mesa State College proved that the bullet fragments exhumed from the burial site matched lead from the old pistol, suggesting that his second confession might be the real deal, that he did put,
Two in his gut.
yeah, into Shannon's gut. He is the only person in U.S. history to be convicted of a crime related to cannibalism.
And I'm going to say he didn't do it.
Okay, heard.
I'm Team Alfred. Can never trust a red-faced, red-haired man named Shannon.
A stout man named Shannon. The area where the bodies were found was renamed Deadman's Gulch, and the area northeast of Lake City where Packer and the party were lost is now known as Cannibal Plateau. So it's very reminiscent of like Truckee Lake being turned into Donner Lake after the Donner Party.
Yep.
We love changing the names of places to people who ate other people. Lake City hosts an annual event called Packer Days. And in 2019, they did a 5K called Run for Your Life. And participants had to complete survival tasks such as building a fire and shelter, splinting a leg, evacuating the injured person, knot tying, and more.
The more was eating.
And then eating your running partner.
Mm-hmm.
Nom, nom.
Yeah, you carry the wounded and then eat them when you get to the finish line.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Lake City cannibalism. Other things named after him is the Packer Burger at the Packer Saloon and Cannibal Grill in Lake City.
Nice.
A cookbook called the Alferd Packer High Protein Gourmet Cookbook.
I'm guessing that's a parody cookbook.
It has to be. At the University of Colorado in 1967, the students voted to change the name of a restaurant to the Alferd Packer Grill. And the creators of South Park had a short-lived musical titled Cannibal, the Musical.
Fun.
This man is living on, no matter if he did or didn't do it.
He's living on for all the things he didn't want to be remembered for.
Yep.
Which, you know what?
His final words really didn't mean a thing to anybody.
He became immortal for allegedly doing very
grisly acts.
Rough stuff.
Yep. That's it. That is my tale of Alferd Packer, who lives on, obviously, quite fondly in the heart of many Coloradans.
That was a fun one today. Never heard that story. It was definitely fun, reminiscent of the Donner Party a little bit.
Originally, I was looking into the Donner Party, but then I found this man who's the only person convicted of a crime related to cannibalism that I hadn't heard of. So I was like, everybody knows the Donner Party. Let's do something a little bit more niche.
Yeah, I like that. I like that better, honestly. I mean, you hear so many of the same things over and over again. They get regurgitated. I'd like to hear something a little new. So Thank you for bringing that one to light for me. For anybody who doesn't know, we're out here in Colorado.
Wanted to do a little hometown story because a lot of our listeners are also here in Colorado.
Yeah, that was fun.
Well, I hope you guys all learned something new today. And thanks for listening. Join us next week as we uncover another Darkive together.
I'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye.